This video is powered by Dr. Cinik, one of the world's leading hair transplant centres and a top choice among football superstars. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link below for your free consultation. I'm even thinking about getting it done myself.
AFTV, Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. I've got Laurie with me. Now, Laurie, it seems like a real bitter pill to swallow given the way in which we've drawn the game, but I still think a very positive point. What was your thoughts on the game as a whole?
Yeah, listen, my overriding theme is very positive. Listen, this is a ground that we've not won at since 2015.
Yeah.
Although we were 2-1 up, we've had a man sent off. We've had to go a whole half with 10 men against the team that I would say, pound for pound, are the best attacking team in the country. So to do that and nearly win it, okay, we conceded in the dying embers of the game, which is disappointing in itself. But overall, listen, it's a very creditable performance. And perhaps even more important than that is that we've shown today that we've got the resilience, the mindset and the mentality to really do something big this season.
Absolutely. And the thing that obviously I wanted to highlight here is obviously Manchester City got that early goal. Normally when a City get an early goal against any other team, they tend to crumble. But this Arsenal team, the resilience they showed, how do you feel about that in terms of how far you believe we've come from the days where, like I said, losing 5-0 at the Etihad, like other teams would do, and obviously to get a positive point in my eyes.
Very encouraged, and for that you've got to give the manager immense credit. Obviously the players, but the managers put this all into play. We've got a mindset now that is second to none. I really do think so. And I think it's going to be very close this season. I mean, initially I did have City as my favourites, but that's because they've got a slightly stronger squad than ours. In fact, it might even be better than slightly. They've got a better squad than ours, but we're in there fighting. And if they do slip up, I like to think that we'll be there to take advantage of it. And so games like today are so important. Not just the result, like I said, but the mentality, the resilience, the structure, everything about the way we approached that second half was brilliant for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, the big talking point of the game, for me at least, and I think for everyone else to be fair, is the red card on Leandro Trossard. Now, first of all, your thoughts on whether you believe it was worth a second yellow and how you believe it affected the rest of the game.
Well, if I answer the second question first, there's no doubt it affected the game because, we had to go the whole of the second half with only 10 men, which we performed brilliantly, but nevertheless, that was a game changer. In answer to your first question, now some fans might be disappointed in me for saying this, but you know me, I like to be truthful. To me, I thought it was a red card. I think Leandro Trossard was guilty of a little bit of a lapse of concentration there. Now, listen, people can talk about consistency, and I get that, but where I'm slightly critical of Trossard is that you've seen this happen a few weeks ago to Declan Rice. I'm pretty sure Mikel Arteta, given how meticulous he is and how he, addresses all the finer details, he would have said to them today, especially you're away from home, and let's face it, a bit of a cauldron coming to the Etihad. Do not give the referee those types of decisions to make. Please do not do that. And Leandro Trossard is not Miles Skelly. He's not 18, 19, 20 years old. He's an experienced player. He's an international player. He's been around the block. I do expect him to exercise a degree of common sense in that, you know what I mean? Now, he will probably argue that he didn't hear the whistle. He seemed to be mouthing that. But I'm trying not to be too critical of him, but I can't get away from the fact that I do think it was a sending off. Now, people have raised, yourself, James, Gudelj have raised the issue about consistency. And I get that. But even so, I think you as Trossard has a responsibility to stay on the pitch, and he didn't do that. So,
But I understand what you're saying in that sense. But obviously the point that I made, and I think a lot of Arsenal fans will make, is much earlier in the game, Doku does something similar and doesn't even get a booking. Does that not show that the referee kind of already set the precedent for the game, given that one?
Yeah, listen, I see where you're coming from with the consistency. And to be fair to the referees, it's unlikely that they're going to get everything 100% right.
But it seems to be all the time. This is the issue. Not just for Arsenal either.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, inconsistency, incompetence, I would say that the Premier League is plagued with that at the moment. But even so, the responsibility is on Trossard not to fall victim to that. You saw with Declan Rice, it was very harsh. but you saw the ramifications of him making that mistake. Now, you've been given that as a benchmark. You think to yourself, listen, man, stay on the pitch. I'm pretty sure the manager would have said to those guys at the start of the game, do not give away any needless yellow cards. Stay on the pitch. It's a hard enough game without you guys getting sent off. And he goes and gets himself sent off. So he was a little bit, I don't want to say negligent or reckless. I just think it was a little bit lacking in common sense. Let's hope that it doesn't happen again. That's all I can say. But, you know, you've asked the question. I've answered it honestly. I think the referee was justified in giving him that second yellow. It was disappointing.
Yeah. But just to stay on the officiating standards today, there was also the incident for Manchester City, which involved Kyle Walker. And this is what we got our first goal from as well. There was an argument to say that Kyle Walker wasn't in a position and the referee didn't allow him enough time to get back into position where the goal was scored. A fantastic goal by Calafiori, by the way. What did you make of that incident?
Well, the referee had a less than stellar game. Let's just say that.
That's you being nice.
That is me.
You don't have to be nice, I promise.
But then I try not to blame referees too much, because I think, listen, it's down to the players at the end of the day. Unless you get a real maverick referee that's clearly like favouring one team against the other, I wouldn't quite put it as far as that. So listen, the referee made that decision. Some people have highlighted, yourself included, about the inconsistencies, and I get that. But it still comes down to the player. I don't think the referee had his best game, but it is difficult. Refereeing a game like that, there was a lot of stuff going on, even from our side as well. Let's be honest here. We were doing some stuff as well. So it's difficult, man. And I've been around football long enough to know that it's very rare you're going to get a referee, especially in a game of this magnitude where the stakes are so high that everyone's going to come off the pitch and say, yeah, that ref was great. Yeah. So it is what it is, really.
No, of course, absolutely. And obviously, whilst it's disappointing that we didn't get the win, we must also forget that we didn't lose the game. We did get the point. So there are certainly some positives to come from that. Is there anyone in particular or any specific players that really stood out for you today?
You know what? I'm going to give a collective man of the match to the whole of the 10 players, and including the subs that come on. But even within that, there was some first among equals. So I thought Raya was outstanding today. Yeah. I thought Gabriel and Saliba once again were outstanding. But all through the time, all through the team, you know, I mean, they were brilliant. Had we held on for the win, I probably would have edged and given it to Gabriel, because obviously that would have been the winner. But you know what? I'm going to give a collective man of the match to the whole of the guys who played in that second half, because they were outstanding. I mean, the energy levels, I mean, they probably want to sleep for a week after that. Because the energy levels and just the sheer concentration that requires you to keep a team like City, who, like I said before, probably the best attacking side in Europe, or certainly one of them anyway, certainly the best attacking side in the country. Yeah. And to keep them out for that length of time, you're talking about seconds, which would have been a famous win, our first win there since 2015. I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of the manager. They give themselves a collective pat on the back. They were brilliant today.
Okay, absolutely. And not to say there's, just to round off here as well, not to say there's any easy games in professional football, but over the next month, we've got some easier games or some more slightly simpler games.
Yeah, I don't like to use the word easy. Right, cool. Less challenging.
Right, okay. less challenging fixtures before that run-in that we've seen between November and December, where we've got some quite challenging fixtures. How confident are you over the next month that we can begin to get a few more wins under our belt?
I think one of the things I've taken from today's games, if you can go up to City and you're down to 10 men and play a whole half and come away with a very creditable point, I think you've got nothing to fear, man. I think, okay, there will be people out there who said we've not been at our fluent best, we're not scoring enough goals. But listen, man, my spirits are high after what I saw today. I'm looking at the games we've got coming up. They're less challenging than the three we've just come off the back of. So I think we can go and express ourselves against Bolton and Leicester and hopefully get two good wins.
I agree. Thank you, Laurie.